So I asked ChatGPT to make a financial plan for me, and in this video we're gonna go over it and I will rate how it did. It actually really surprised me. Alright, so first off I just did some input to ChatGPT. I told it a little bit about myself and my situation. In this case the age, about the average amount of money, it's closer to 800k now in growth stocks. How it's roughly allocated, 44k in high yield dividend, 66k Swedish pension, I think it's closer to 100k now, but I'm doing conservative numbers, 54k in Irish pension, I know that it's around there also, and then of course student loan debt as well. Where should I relocate to? Where should I retire? I give it some information, the things that I like and enjoy, and places that I've visited. Alright, so what does ChatGPT tells me? Does it give me a good plan? Alright, let's see what my profile and lifestyle preferences tells me. What do you want? Low living cost, of course. MMA gyms, very nice. Seeing some nice Latinas doing a bit of dancing, dating, very, very nice. Semi-retirement, I didn't really tell it about this specifically, but based on my age profile, I think that it does profiling here. And this is very true in my case. I will do a bit of a side hustle of a company called E2 Advanced AI, where I handle people's advertising, the digital advertising. Cigars, love this, and then of course it adds favorable tax treatment. Very, very important as well. Top locations, Medellin, Colombia, vibrant Latina culture, friendly people, low cost of living, MMA, warm weather, and foreign investment income is taxed favorably if structured right. I know this is true. I know it's a large expat community. I've seen it on YouTube, on the Nomad Capitalist. And I also have an American friend who is living in Colombia currently that I plan to visit to see if I actually like the country. So quite a good suggestion as the first pick. Although my friend lives in Bogota, so that's where I will go to start off. Mexico City, Latina dating culture. They have a lot of boxing, Saul Alvarez, yes indeed. Affordable cost of living, good quality of life, cigars, some tax planning here, of course. Playa del Carmen adds beaches. No idea what that is, but playa in Spanish is beach. I know I had a friend in university whose parents moved over there to Mexico and left him alone in the big apartment in Stockholm, and they certainly enjoyed Mexico. Would I do it? Not sure. Portugal, the European choice. It's very, very interesting with regards to the tax scheme that's been going on there. It was a huge thing. I will give you some secret sauce right now. Some very, very secret sauce. And I'm not sure if that tax loophole still exists. But a lot of people in Europe, as they got older, would move to Portugal and they would collect their entire pension tax-free over a 5-year scheme. As I was younger, I just thought that the parents of my friends liked the hot weather. Why would they all move to Portugal? But as I got older and wiser, I realized that it's because of the tax scheme. So ChatGPT is on point. I haven't researched it in the latest 3 years, if it has changed or not. Perhaps this is not the case anymore after a lot of EU pressure. But if you find an older person and they tell you that they lived in Portugal for 5 years, well, then you know why. Taxes, taxes, taxes. And regarding all of this relaxed lifestyle, quality healthcare infrastructure, not really sure about the dating either. Haven't met any Portuguese girl, so I can't really give my opinion there. Brazil, absolutely love it. Sao Paulo is more of a business place, so not really sure about the vibe there. Florianopolis, I've heard some very, very good things about, and this really interested me in terms of the ChatGPT answers. So some good quality points here, some points that you could get from a experienced financial advisors, and it gets even better, but more on that later. Can you retire? All right. Fully retiring at 30 at roughly 700,000 would be tight. Very lean, it tells me. Live semi-retired, 3 to 4% withdrawal. I think that 4.7 is more reasonable. So this gives, 20 to 28k a year with these numbers, and it suggests me to supplement my retirement with light work, for example, consulting, content, remote gig. Yes, indeed, this is the plan as well. So a small side business to keep me busy, because I just can't stop working ever. So quite interesting. This is, not a high amount. It divides this down on a monthly basis later on as I prompt it more. What would I avoid? Scandinavia, too expensive, high taxes. Yes, indeed, it's very, very expensive. Southeast Asia, again, Thailand, etc. If you want MMA plus Latinas. Well, they have great MMA, but not the best dating culture. Eastern Europe, wrong culture match based on your interest. Yes, indeed. So the recommendations that it give, once again, summarizing. So I tell it, sketch out a financial model. Start with costs. I give it some examples on lifestyle here, just to make it even more accurate. 1-bedroom apartment by the beach in Florianopolis. And this is something you can do. You can visualize your dream retirement. The more detailed you are, the more vivid, the more real it becomes. And you can imagine this as you're sitting and grinding on those long work days on your 9 to 5. It really, really helps. Trust me, it's an endless source of motivation. It's a wellspring of motivation, and it just comes from within when you have these goals set up for yourself. So I want to eat out every day. Coffee for breakfast that I make at home, MMA gym membership, 2 cigars a week, Wi-Fi, buy a scooter that I can ride around on. I would prefer an electric bike, but they don't have the infrastructure for this. So what would be my monthly total cost here? Also add a phone plan and give me suggestions on fun expenses to add. So, give me some ideas here, because I'm not very imaginative when it comes to lifestyle. This is something that I'm working on. Excellent with money, but not the best on planning adventures. So then see how my current finances compare and base this on the 4% rule. I even spell percent wrong, but ChatGPT gets it. Game changer. Alright, step-by-step breakdown here of Florianopolis, Brazil. This is a bit to the north. Amazing beaches. I've looked at it on YouTube, and man, it looks amazing. Soon we're gonna get to a very interesting input from ChatGPT as well. Alright, so upper mid-range, not luxury penthouse, close to beach here. 770 euros a month. Sounds very reasonable for Brazil. Utilities, 85. Alright, Wi-Fi, 26 euros. Would be amazing if there was a English-speaking Brazilian that watched this video and could comment regarding the exactness of these expenses, because perhaps it fabulates and just makes stuff up. I've been to Brazil in Rio de Janeiro. It was a bit more expensive, but that's the most expensive place in Brazil by far. Scooter, MMA gym membership, 77 euro here monthly. Eating out, 428 euro. Sounds very reasonable with the cost of pastels. And Uber is like less than 2 euros in Rio. Crazy. Coffee at home, some groceries, 26 euros. Cigars. It also adds health insurance, private expat level. Fun entertainment, the dating, 205 euro. And misc clothes unplanned. Alright. This gives a total monthly cost of roughly €2,100, 2,250. I think this is around the average monthly after tax salary in Sweden, so it's a bit on the higher end, not super stingy. And then it gives some suggestions on fun activities as well. And man, let me know, do you have any fun suggestions that should be added here? I think it's doing a good job, like Portuguese tutor, very, very good. MMA private coaching, I've done this in Brazil. I paid 100, 200 reais for one-on-one coaching. So this is a bit on the heavier end, indeed. And upgrade cigars to +4 a week. Oof! It knows my weaknesses. AI is taking over. We have to stop it, guys. Alright, so 4% rules on the finances. It gives me a breakdown on the net liquid investable cash. And with the 4% rule, it tells me I can live on roughly 2,633 per month, gross before taxes. Brazil does not heavily tax foreign dividends, capital gains if structured right, so reasonable. So very, very safe monthly budget here of 2,633. Given this input, I could technically retire today with a surplus buffer of 400 to 500 a month. In terms of a reality check, before I start judging this ChatGPT financial plan, absolutely, I can live this lifestyle, don't need to work again, could travel, do the things that I like, very nice to hear, and optional side income. Of course, because I enjoy working, I would do that. And here, excellent. It hits on some point. It actually hits on some points. Portfolio is very growth heavy, small cap and Palantir. So Ports Group and Palantir is a massive part of my portfolio. It recognizes this as a risk and suggests rebalancing. I can't have the type of volatility that I have today if I want to retire. It's just too massive exposure to variance, very, very bad suggestion. It could pan out and elevate me into the stratosphere to a very luxury lifestyle, but it could also go the other way around and force me back into the workforce. So slowly rotate more into income, dividend stability over time. Absolutely, I agree with this consideration. And also, Brazilian real can fluctuate. Keep savings in euro or American dollars. Wow, very, very smart ChatGPT. They have had 6 currencies crash since the 80s. When I was in Rio, back a little more than a year ago now, there was 5 reais for 1 euro. Now it's 6 reais, so currency has gotten a lot weaker. And this would have undercut my purchasing power indeed. What's next if you're serious? It's quite smart. Plan your capital flow. Of course, have to structure. You're like a CEO of your own money, managing it. It's like little workers for you. Test Florianopolis 3 to 6 months before committing. Man, what a genius. This is exactly what I've been thinking about as well. Been traveling outside of Europe for a month at a time to the different places. But a longer stay is needed before committing. Deciding on side income hobby. Yes, of course, very much needed. And residency options, very, very important as well. Very important to hit on. So it did the overall good job. It identified the biggest risk in my portfolio. It identified the biggest risk in terms of lifestyle selections. Some of the things that it missed was that it did not ask about my student loan. Perhaps it took it for granted based on Swedish citizen that it was a good rate. But I could have been an American and stuck with bad rates. So it should have asked me about the debt and the payment plan on that and put that as part of the expenses. It did not identify social security that we have here in Europe. So we have a allmän pension, as we say in Swedish, public pension. It's social security basically that's being paid out. We have that in Ireland as well. And you're entitled to this after some years of working. At a certain age, you can do it earlier as well on medical grounds. So it's not calculating this in a space of the income, but as a rough sketch, I think it's doing quite a good job. So it hit on 2 major points, it made some slight misses, and then of course it's uncertain if it's accurate in terms of expenses for Brazil that it put up here, showing the cost of an apartment monthly, the cost of utilities, Wi-Fi. It would be excellent if there was any Brazilian watching this that could collaborate, say yes or no on the expenses, if they're correct or not. But all in all, I think that ChatGPT actually gets the stamp of approval from Bullnova in terms of making a financial plan. This is far, far better than what most people come up with on their own, and I'm actually impressed. Alright, that's been it for this video, and as always, hope you guys make a ton of money, whatever investments you decide to make. Take care now, bye bye.